description of what raising children is like. You know, that was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. If you're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes and you're not letting go. The new book, that was easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun, and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
Be aware, be connected, be enriched, be encouraged, be fit, be active, be seen, be successful, be wonderful, be wholesome, be amazing, be an example, be the cause, be the cure, be involved, be wise, be happy, be healthy. Be Well, a Bakersfield magazine, quarterly inside the Bakersfield Californian, free with home delivery and on Bakersfield newsstands. Also online at BeWellMagazine.com.
Current Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit currentbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on currentbusinessjournal.com.
Bakersfield Life Magazine is a monthly lifestyle publication that features local people, places, and businesses. It is available to be read on BakersfieldLife.com and publishes the last Saturday of the month with many convenient pickup locations. Find us online on Facebook or Twitter, as well as BakersfieldLife.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
From the Dignity Health Studios of the Bakersfield Californian, it's time to open up with real people, real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
Good morning, Don.
Good morning, Tina Miller. How are you?
I'm well. So good to see you.
And you look great again.
Well, thanks, Don. Don, we are excited. We're getting closer to our birthday celebration.
Oh, boy. We just are gathering so many things to give away to you all out there. So we really want you to tune into that show. Because, by the way, I meant to bring this to you. These are 2 45-day free gifts to In Shape.
Oh,
now, we got to white out those names and just leave it blank, but
okay.
There you go. So we got that as well.
Talking about getting healthy and staying healthy. And, oh, wow, Don, who our sponsor will be talking about, or our first guest is talking about health. I like his, on the website I saw it, it says feeding, feeding the world in a healthy way.
Feeding the world in a healthy
I
way.
love that. But before we talk to him, we want to tell who's coming up in our later segments. We have Pastor Rafael Cruz.
Well, we hope so.
Oh,
he's
yes.
not here in the studio, so we're trying to track him
He's
down.
not, but he will be here.
All right.
We
all
will
right.
try.
We'll
So,
have faith.
yes, thank you. Okay, so you
All
want to
right.
introduce John?
Well, we are going through a heat wave. I don't know what the weather is where you are. We've got viewers all over the world and the nation, but man, we are going through about 106 degrees every day. And but what that means here in the San Joaquin Valley is it's grape harvest time, and we're going to introduce you right now to one of the most interesting. You know that Dos Equis commercial where he's the most interesting man in the world. Well, I think John Jamara is one of the most interesting men I've ever met, and has one of the most amazing businesses. John Jamara of Jamara Vineyards. John, thank you for coming. We
Yes.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you for the invitation.
Welcome to Open Up.
Thank you very much.
I know as soon as you're done here, you're right back harvesting grapes. And
I'll be there in about 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, John has vineyards that just go on and on as far as the eye can see, miles and miles of grapes, and he's actually revolutionizing the way they grow grapes. John, first, tell us about that. Tell us about the arbor way that you're doing grapes.
Well, not only the arbor way, but what we're doing is we're really creating new varieties for the 21st century.
Really?
Historically, the Thompson Seedless has been the main table grape, and then along came the Flame. So there was a red and there was a white. There have been other varieties too, but those were the two main ones. What we're doing is we're crossing various varieties, one with another, to create a third. What we're looking for are berries that are bigger, that are sweeter, that are better eating, that are crunchy, that produce more per acre, that are easier to pick and pack into a box to ship throughout the world. And we've created 3 or 4 new ones. We have a new one that you'll be seeing in the supermarkets in maybe 2 years. It's called Fire.
Wow.
And Fire is to replace the Flame. And then we
now,
have...
John, by chance, it's not hot. It doesn't have a hot flavor.
No,
does it?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
I know that's the only problem with the. Some people may think it's like a jalapeno pepper or something. No, Fire is just because of the color. It's just
okay.
beautiful color.
Yes.
And then we have another one called Sweeties, and Sweeties are very sweet, very delicious, very crunchy, and we think that that will replace the Thompson Seedless. So that's one thing we're doing. We have a crossbreeding nursery where we cross variety A with B, each having certain characteristics that we like, to create C, which would be the new variety.
John, that's high-level genetic science. I mean,
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is, but it's not genetic in the sense that we're placing anything into the grape.
Okay,
This is
okay.
all natural.
Okay.
So there's nothing. It's very scientific, but it's not sort of weird science.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's natural science.
I've got it.
Okay. Yes.
John actually was named just excuse me, a couple of years back, America's Italian Businessman of the Year. I mean, John, quite an honor. Tell us about
Yes.
what that honor entails.
Well, I don't know how they happen to select me. I am Italian, just 100%. My father was from Sicily. My mother born in the U.S., but her parents from Sorrento and Naples in Italy. But they selected me because we have a company that's very diversified. We not only grow grapes, but now we import them from around the world so that we supply grapes to supermarkets 365 days of the year. We never stop. We never rest. We try to find a little time to take a vacation, but we bring in tremendous quantities from Chile, from Peru, from Brazil, from Mexico, and in the future, the grapes will be grown in other countries. We're licensing these new varieties around the world. So these grapes come into the U.S. and we market them in North America.
So, John, if I go into a supermarket in Vermont or Maine and I want a bunch of grapes, they're coming from Jamara Vineyards. right?
Not only
Possibly.
Vermont and Maine, you can go to Moscow. You can go to
Oh.
Australia. You can go to China for sure. We're a major supplier to China, and I just hope they keep creating babies over there because we've got the grapes to supply them.
You know, let me tell you what really impressed me, Tina, about John Jamar when he flew back to New York. It was New York to get that.
Yes,
honor,
it
right?
was in New York.
When he flew back to New York to get that. Now, John Jamar could have rented the whole plane or gone on Jetflix or whatever it is and entered some and flown back by himself. But he flew, he and his wife, wonderful wife Pam, flew coach.
Yes.
And he said, I don't see spending thousands of dollars to fly first class for a 4-hour flight.
Well,
I mean,
that's
that
true.
really impressed me, John. Tell me.
When I do international flights, I fly business class.
Mm-hmm.
But domestically, they charge $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to
Right.
fly business, and I'd rather have that $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to do something with,
put some
other
grapes
than
on our
just have a
tables.
little wider seat for my bottom.
That is so
Yeah,
cool.
Plant a vineyard for crying out loud.
That is so cool. Tell us about the arbor. Your new. I know you invested millions of dollars. Normally, you know, they grow along one line.
Yes,
and,
right,
and
right,
you've
right.
changed that, and
Well,
you spent millions of dollars to change
We
that.
have spent millions of dollars. Grapes historically have been grown with what they call the California system, the T system, where the canes fall over on both
yes.
sides, forming a tunnel. But we have found, and it's been proven around the world, that the arbor system, which forms a V, so that the canes go up in the air and then fall, exposes the leaves to more sunshine. There's more photosynthesis. It creates stronger grapes. It creates more grapes. And for the farm worker, it is much easier to pick because they just walk through what is like a little house, and the grapes are right there at eye level. They can see them. They clip them off.
They're in the shade.
They're in the shade the whole time. So in many ways, it's the way that grapes will be grown around the world in the now and in the future. So, but it's very expensive. It costs close to $10,000 an acre for 1 acre. So you're talking about 10 acres, you have 100,000, and 100 acres, you have 1 million. So growing grapes in this day and age is very, very expensive.
John, now grapes, but are there any other products that you?
We grow citrus.
Okay.
And we have grown for many years potatoes, and we import. We import peaches, plums, nectarines,
Ooh.
apples, pears,
Yummy.
kiwis, avocados, blueberries, grapes, all those
Okay.
different things. So
Yes, and we have a screen, a full screen of your website here, Giamara, and the different varieties and grapes. What do you find when you eat a grape? What is your favorite? Is it the fire one or the red or the green?
What is my favorite? I think my favorite is the sweetie.
The sweetie?
Yeah, the sweetie, because when you bite into it, it just explodes in your mouth. And that the juice and the sugar and everything. So I'm really a big fan of the sweetie.
So how can we tell a sweetie when we see it?
Because when hopefully they'll have it at Vaughn's or Ralph's or Albertsons or someone here in Bakersfield.
Okay.
It says Sweeties on the bag.
Okay.
Now,
Perfect.
listen, we've talked to John now about his business, but when we come back from our break, we're going to talk to John about the challenge of being in business today
Yes.
and an encouragement to all you entrepreneurs and business people out there, what they've been through, how they got through it to the other side. And while we're speaking about flavors exploding in your mouth.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Flavors exploding in your mouth. We have one for John. I don't know where it is, but
It's half empty.
half empty.
liked it.
That's good. Nature's Food Market and Juice Bar. Chuck and Wendy Noss, we love you. We thank you. 1918 G Street, but soon to be over in the old Hindley Photography Building.
Right across from the Fox.
Right across from the Fox Theater, and you don't want to miss what they're juicing up every day. So get in to see them. This is Alibaba, by the way.
The challenge of being in business and how to overcome all those problems when we come back.
I'm a comparison shopper. I shopped around. I did look on the internet, and in shopping around, it was the best price.
We decided to switch over to Personal Express because we saved so much.
We got a pretty good discount with when we put our house and our cars together.
Switching over saved me $300 a month.
And I have had insurance companies call me, and when I tell them what I'm paying for the insurance, they tell me, we cannot beat that.
Low rates with the local advantage. That's Personal Express.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the Bi-Monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
All right, John.
Back, everyone.
You
This
bet.
is Open Up with Tina Miller.
And who?
Don Clark.
All right, your favorite pair on the air, we hope.
Yes, and I am holding a bunch of delicious grapes. Denise Haddock Interior Designs. Denise brought these in, and they're from our lovely decorations here on the table. I don't know if you can see them all, but
And decorated with grapes, how appropriate.
yes, and they are delicious. So.
Listen, just before we get back to John, hold on, John, just a minute. Coming up in the next two segments, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Socialist, Communist, Independent, you're going to want to hear from the man we've got with us, a refugee from Castro's Cuba, one of the most outspoken, fiery, independent pastors in America today, the father of Ted Cruz, who may well be running for president one day. So we're going to hear from him, so stay with us. But we get back now to John. And John, we want to talk to you now about the challenges of just being in business. I mean, we're facing the worst drought in California we've had in 500 years. You got that to contend with. But tell us about, and now you're into several generations of your family. Keeping a family business going is all against the odds, and you succeeded doing that. Tell us about the challenges.
Well, let's start with water as an example. Just yesterday, we were dealing with the water issue in the sense that we've been allocated 2 acre-feet to grow an acre of grapes, but it takes 3 acre-feet to grow an acre of grapes. So we're moving water around, trying to do everything we can to irrigate where it seems that the most need is, so that these grapes will not all shrivel up on the vine. So it is really a serious problem. It's not overblown in the media. It is truly a serious problem, and it takes a lot of care and thought in order to get by with less water than you really need in order to produce 1 acre of grapes.
John, a lot of city folks would just say, "Who cares? You know, that's just agriculture out there taking up all our water." What do you say?
Well,
to
my
that?
response to that is that it should not be an issue for the common man unless he doesn't want to eat. Because what we're doing, we're supplying grapes, and maybe you say, well, we can get by without grapes. But all the other crops out there, how about potatoes? How about rice? How about all the vegetables that require water? I mean, this is a serious problem. California, San Joaquin Valley is the most fertile, most productive area in the world. We could literally feed a good part of the world if we had to, just out of this valley. And they're taking water away from us and inhibiting our ability to do it. So everyone should be concerned, not just farmers. Moving on to some of the problems in business. We're into our 4th generation at Jamara Vineyards. That is really unusual for a company to continue as long as we've been in business, 94 years, and go through that many generations. Typically, the 2nd generation starts fighting, and either it ends there or it ends for sure by the 3rd generation.
Right.
But we're into the 4th. We're training the 4th generation to take our place. I'm 3rd generation. My grandfather started the business in 1922. But I'd have to say each generation has expanded the business and has really stood up and not tried to just reap the benefits without putting blood, sweat, and tears back into the business. So hopefully the 5th generation is born, but they're not ready to go to work yet.
Right.
They're just little children, but hopefully it'll go on to the 5th generation and beyond. It's farming is a fabulous business. Growing grapes, I think, is one of the most fun of all commodities because people love them. It's one of the major selling items in supermarkets, right up there with bananas and lettuce. So I just hope that we can continue to do this in the future.
John, I'm sure you've had your family fights. How
Sure.
did you get through those family fights to the other side, to fight to the better end, not the bitter end?
A good way to phrase it. I'd say this, and here's my recommendation to anyone in a family business. Make sure that everybody has a responsibility and let them focus on their responsibility, not focus on what the other guy is doing and whether he's working hard enough.
Yeah.
In our company, we have family members who do the farming, and that's their responsibility, and they do a fabulous job. We have family members who are involved in the sales and the marketing, and they're not involved in the farming, and the farming is not involved in that. We have family members who are involved in the finance, and that's what they do. So everybody has a job, and they have to focus on their job, and when they do, they don't have time to be worrying about fighting or animosities and this and that. Sure, we have our disagreements when we have board meetings, because if you didn't have disagreements, you wouldn't be analyzing all the alternatives and possibilities. So that would be my advice. Have everyone do a job and do it well, and then you won't have time to be getting involved in conflicts.
Talk to us about the award that you received up in Lake Tahoe.
Oh, well, I was presented with an award last year as being one of the legends of produce. And, I'm not sure how that came about, but I was most appreciative.
Yes.
Over the years, I've been chairman of the board of the Wine Association of California, of the California Table Grape Commission, of the California Grape and Tree Fruit League. So I've done a lot of things on behalf of the industry, and so they said that I qualified as a legend. I'm only a legend in my own mind, I think. But
John, I called your office one time about something, and they said John is up at a meeting of the CIA. And I said, boy, there's a whole new dimension. But it was really the Culinary Institute of America.
Culinary Institute of America. I was on the board of directors of the. I was a trustee of the school, and they call it the CIA. But that's the fun one, not the one in Washington D.C. Yeah.
Well, they have their own fun and games.
John, tell us a little bit about Pam.
Pamela is a fabulous lady. We have 5 children and 14 grandchildren. She's spending, and we built this great big house to house 5 children. And now all 5 children are gone with their own families. And Pam and I just rattle around in there and use basically the kitchen and the bedroom, and that's about it.
John, set me straight. Pam is from the movie aristocracy of Hollywood, isn't she?
Yeah, she's Pam is related to more people than anyone I've ever met. We had our reception when we were married in the home of Cecil B. DeMille because that's Pamela's family. Pamela is her maiden name was Presley. No baloney. She is a cousin of Elvis Presley. She is a cousin by marriage to Ricky Nelson.
Oh my God!
And if you go back in history, her grandmother was a Cromwell. Pamela is a direct descendant of Oliver Cromwell of England, whom they asked to be king, and he turned it down. Not too many people who turned the kingdom down.
She acts like royalty. She
Yes,
really
she
does.
does. What's Carlin doing here?
All right, we've got Carlin Jones here, and so we're going to.
Okay, Carlin.
The reason we ask Carlin to come for every business that comes on is, Carlin, here we've got a tremendously successful man, a tremendously successful company, and yet you do things for companies that maybe they haven't thought about. So you've heard John's story. What would Carlin Jones and Proforma, your marketing company, do for a business like John Jamara and Jamara Vineyards?
Well, first off, I just have to say it's really cool to be sitting next to John. I've known John since I was about 14 years old.
Right.
And I hung out at that house that you're rattling around. When I was
Right, yeah, that's
I'm Randy's age.
And he knew you as CJ.
CJ, right.
Yeah, everybody knew me as CJ back in the day. So anyhow, well, everything that he's been saying here is great for content marketing. So what I do is social media marketing, right? And he's been telling this great stories, and great stories catch fire online, right? People want to hear what the business owner does, what their real life is about, what they care about. So everything he's done right now has been just great, right? And we can take this YouTube video of Open Up and share it to the world. So you can repurpose. It's just not a one-time deal. We can take this thing and keep repurposing it out to everybody in the world, what John has said here today about his business.
Good, CJ. Let's do it.
Okay. So I'm ready to help you.
If John has a website, he could download this interview onto his website and send it out.
He could put it on. He can embed it on the website, and if he has social networks, he can Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of that stuff. If they have it, which I think they're moving forward towards that because I've talked to Mimi about it, then it can get shared to the world, and everybody will know the stories that John is telling.
Now, John, you and I come from I still have my flip phone, you know. My son says I ought to be embarrassed to pull this phone out. So what do you think about it? Here's another dimension for your
I
business.
think it's a good idea. This younger generation know about all of the ways to communicate with people, and communicate with people in a way that really doesn't cost very much.
Right.
I mean, at one time we hired Peter Lawford to be our spokesman on television. That costs a lot of money.
I'm sure.
I think we can get online and communicate with maybe as many or more people and not have to incur
We can
that
communicate
expense.
with millions of people.
Right.
Listen, folks, if you are interested in just more about the Jamaras and their company, there it is, Jamara, feeding the world in a healthy way. The website, jamara.com, jamara.com. So, John, what an honor to have you on. What fun.
Well, it's been my honor, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Oh,
Next
we
time
would love
when
to.
we come up with something really new and exciting.
Yes.
And let us know about that.
Okay.
Fire.
All right,
Thank you
Tina,
so much,
Don.
John.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Thank you.
All right.
And Carlin? Yes, go ahead.
When we come back, we're going to be talking to one of the most outspoken men in American life today, Rafael Cruz, an immigrant, a refugee from Castro's Cuba, and the father of a son who may be running for president one of these days. So you're going to want to stay tuned and listen to what he has to say, no matter where you stand on the political spectrum. We'll be right back.
Buying a home is one of the most important decisions you can make. Scott Tobias Real Estate is here for you. Allow our seasoned and professional associates guide you through every step of the way. Scott Tobias Real Estate is a full-service real estate company providing expert assistance in residential and commercial real estate. The real estate business has changed in many ways over the years, but the desire for excellent customer service is still very much in demand. Our objective is not to be the biggest, but to offer the best real estate services. We're open 7 days a week.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorn Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
Follow the Gades live on Bakersfield.com every Saturday during football season. Every Bakersfield College football game will be broadcast live on Bakersfield.com starting September 6th when the Gades visit Riverside. Follow the action on Bakersfield.com Saturday, September 6th at 6 o'clock. Join the Bakersfield Californian and Bakersfield College exclusively on Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Hi, Corey Costello here, host of Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com. It's the official program of CESUB Athletics. We bring you inside the program with interviews with coaches and student athletes. Of course, everybody's favorite Corey Versus. I mean, people like to see me in embarrassing athletic situations. And, of course, we'll have all the highlights from around the Roadrunners as well. So join us for Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7? The Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Welcome back to Open Up. We are so glad you joined us today. Having so much fun so far, and we're looking forward to our next guest.
Yes, and just before we go to Pastor Rafael Cruz, we want to say that this segment of Open Up is brought to you in part by Legal Shield, and we're talking about Daniel. We're talking about Daniel Webb, an independent associate, and I mean this is where you need your protection against identity theft. And so many other financial protections for you, your family, your business. Daniel Webb can do that for you. So it's he's at 480-6767. And go to greatlegalbenefits.com, greatlegalbenefit.com. All right, thank you.
Yes.
All right, now we have with us, an honor to have with us, one of the most outspoken pastors in America today. This is Rafael Cruz. Rafael, I'm going to let you tell your story because it's a fascinating one. Take us through your life story that's brought you to today.
And welcome to Open Up.
Yes. It's great to be here, Tina and Don.
Thank you.
Great to be with you. Well, you know, I grew up in Cuba, grew up under a very oppressive military dictatorship that was a big dictatorship of Batista. And as a result of that oppressive military dictatorship, I found myself as a teenager involved in a revolution. The revolution really started in the high schools and the universities. I remember during that time there was a young charismatic leader talking about hope and change. His name was Fidel Castro. And we all followed him. We thought he was going to be our liberator. Little did we know. Well, as a result of my involvement in the revolution, I ended up being imprisoned and tortured. But by the grace of God...
Was that by Batista?
By Batista.
Okay.
By the grace of God, I was able to leave Cuba on a student visa, and I came to the University of Texas. And I got a job as a dishwasher. I couldn't speak English. Dishwashing was the easiest job in the world. You didn't have to talk to anybody. Just wash dishes. So worked full-time, went to school full-time. But when Castro took over in 1959, I went back to Cuba. And I got the shock of my life. That same man that had been talking about hope and change was now talking about how the rich were evil, about how they oppressed the poor, and about the need to redistribute the wealth. He began attacking private property, began confiscating property, began shutting down radio stations, television stations, newspapers, freedom of the press was really thrown out, began persecuting religion, and basically I was just totally disillusioned. He called himself a Marxist-Leninist. So I was there for a month, came back to the States, never to return to Cuba. But so grateful to be in the greatest country on the face of the earth. I'm so proud to be an American.
Wow. You have sisters and brothers?
I have one sister. She lives in Dallas.
Oh, okay. And so no family members in Cuba?
No
at this
immediate
time?
family.
No immediate.
My parents left about 10 years after I did, and they both went to be with the Lord while living in Dallas.
Now, Pastor Cruz, have you continued to stay in touch, or is there a way to stay in touch with friends or people in Cuba that keep you apprised of what's going on there?
Well, my sister, living with my sister is a distant cousin whose mother is still in Cuba. So my sister travels with that distant cousin to Cuba every 3 years. So because of that, I'm aware of what's happening in Cuba. And Cuba is a great example of why socialism doesn't work. You know, before Castro, Cuba had a flourishing economy. It was the only country in Latin America with a 1-to-1 exchange between the Cuban peso and the US dollar. Very strong economy. Today in Cuba, the average salary is less than $20 a month. For years and years, everything has been rationed in Cuba. For example, meat rationed to half a pound per person per month. We eat a half a pound of meat in one dinner. And so there has been a tremendous economic oppression. There's a lot of corruption because, for example, since you can't buy food anywhere, there's a flourishing black market ran by the military in Cuba. So if you have relatives in the U.S. who send you dollars, you can buy anything you want in the black market. So there is a great deal of oppression because they've had such an attack against religion. Basically, they try to destroy the concept of God because one of the fundamental tenets of communism is government has to be your God. So they destroy the concept of God. They also destroy the concept of the family because your loyalty must be to government, not to God or to the family. And so because of that, morality has gone down the drain. There has been a sanctioned church in Cuba. And basically, you can evangelize inside the four walls of a church, although they have spies, government spies in the churches that monitor everything that's said. But for example, evangelizing out on the streets, that's against the law. You can be thrown in prison for doing that. So there's no freedom of religion either. So,
wow.
You know, I'm sorry, Tina, go ahead.
So after the dishwashing job, what did you do?
Well, I washed dishes until I knew enough English, and then I became a cook. And basically, I stayed working in restaurants all through my undergraduate work. at University of Texas. And then when I was going to grad school, I taught mathematics at the University of Texas.
Okay.
You taught mathematics?
Yes.
Wow.
And then went on to work, and within 6 years, I had my own business in oil and gas exploration.
What led you into the pastorate?
Well, actually, it was very interesting. You know, as when I had my oil exploration business, I was very successful. I was in Houston, and I had a company with about 25 employees. And I was the president of the company, had a little flexibility with my time. So I went to seminary, not with any idea of the pastorate or anything of the sort. I just went to seminary just so I could be a better Sunday school teacher. But then in the mid-'80s, OPEC opened the valves and they flooded the market. And overnight, oil dropped from $35 a barrel to $7 a barrel. And it devastated the oil industry. My clients were small to medium-sized independent oil companies. A lot of those oil companies went bankrupt, owing me a bunch of money. So they basically took me under. So I had to shut down my business. And then I began translating books. I began translating for preachers, English to Spanish and Spanish to English when they had guests. And so those preachers that would invite me to translate, later on would invite me to come preach at their church. And then to go to different Bible conferences and things of the sort. And that's how I started. It was actually, I was kind of pushed into it because of the economic challenges that I had in the oil business. And so I have been in the ministry since the mid-'80s. And now that's what I do on a full-time basis, basically traveling the country, speaking in different churches, and primarily doing pastors' conferences. I've done 26 pastors' conferences in the last 12 months, for example.
Now, Pastor Cruz, you have seen the corruption of a military regime under Batista and all his alliances with the criminal underworld. I mean, even our major businesses in bed with the mob, so to speak. Cuba was basically a mob-run country.
That's correct.
And then you've seen a revolution to try to change that, and it did some good. Cuba's got the highest literacy rate almost in the world, and medical care. But now that you've seen those two extremes, what do you see now in America? What do you see any troubling things about America that you would warn our people about?
Well, first of all, let me say what Cuba has today is much, much worse than we had under Batista. Today, basically, there's no freedom. People are basically starving in Cuba because the challenge with communism is that if you work twice as much as I do, you get paid the same.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take long for you to think, well, I'm being foolish. I'm just going to work as little as the other person. So nobody works. So, of course, productivity goes to nothing.
Right.
The economy goes down the tube.
Right.
And everybody starves.
What's the old saying? We pretend to work and you pretend to pay us, you know?
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you, when I came to this country, I was so grateful to be in the greatest country on the face of the earth. You know, this is a country that any dream can become a reality. With hard work and perseverance, you can achieve your dreams. So anyway, as I said, I started my oil exploration business. And then in the late 70s, I was very disturbed when I saw a government in this country begin to implement policies that reminded me of what I had left behind in Cuba. If you remember those years in the late 70s, 22% interest rates, double-digit unemployment, double-digit inflation, a government so weak in foreign policy that Iran had captured 53 Americans and held them hostage for 444 days. So as a result of that, I became very involved with an organization called the Religious Roundtable. The Religious Roundtable, in association with another sister organization called Moral Majority, we mobilized millions of Christians across America to help elect Ronald Reagan to power on 1980, whom I consider the greatest president we've had in the last 150 years, and who dramatically changed the country for the better from the Carter years. So it was very interesting because during that year of 1980, my son Ted was 9 years old. And since I was so involved through the religious roundtables at the grassroots level, working on behalf of Ronald Reagan, trying to get him elected, our conversation around the dinner table centered on politics every day. And I would say over and over, why we needed to remove this ultra-liberal government with a constitutional conservative like Ronald Reagan. And I must have told my son a dozen times, Ted, when I lost my freedom in Cuba, I had a place to come to. If we lose our freedoms here, where are we going to go? And Tina, Don, there is no place to go.
That's right.
If we lose our freedoms here, there is no place to go.
Oh, that is such a strong statement. We got to take a break for a minute. We will come back. We'll hear from our good words, and we'll hear more from Pastor Rafael Cruz.
I'm a comparison shopper. I shopped around. I did look on the internet, and in shopping around, it was the best price.
We decided to switch over to Personal Express because we saved so much.
We got a pretty good discount with when we put our house and our cars together.
Switching over saved me $300 a month.
And I have had insurance companies call me, and when I tell them what I'm paying for the insurance, they tell me we cannot beat that.
Low rates with the local advantage. That's Personal Express.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad. But did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly business journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
We're having a fascinating conversation with Pastor Rafael Cruz, father of Senator Ted Cruz, and we're going to be hearing much more from him. He'll be in our area, I think, for the next 4 days, speaking at many venues as the guest of our Assemblywoman Shannon Grove, who has brought him here to Bakersfield. Thank you, Shannon. But just before we go back to Pastor Cruz, we've got something. Tina has something very special.
Yes, and Don, it's indeed been a fascinating time listening to him. But we are about to hear from our right-hand man, Jeremiah. Jeremiah, welcome. Tell us about the birthday.
Thanks for having me, Tina. Thanks for having me here, Don. I'm really excited because you're not getting older, you're getting wiser.
We
And we're
hope.
going to celebrate that. The birthday show is coming up next week. That is July 17th at 10 a.m. And we want to wish you a happy birthday. Well, it's great because on your birthday, you're going to be giving away gifts. And I just think that's brilliant. We're going to be opening up your birthday gifts on Open Up, and that's fantastic. So the gifts are coming in from local businesses and establishments from all over, and we just find it fascinating. For example, just last week, Don, you and Tina, you bumped into Gino at Luigi's restaurant.
Right.
And Gino says he's going to help you celebrate by actually providing lunch with Don and Tina to the lucky winner. And so we also have a golf gift certificate to
Sycamore.
Sycamore Canyon.
That's
for
right.
four.
That's in your neck of the
Irvin.
woods. Is
It's
that right? Don?
Right outside my front door there.
Well, Don, you guys, I kind of want to keep this one for myself because my wife is wanting me to work out more, but we have gift certificates to In Shape Gym. And there's a 45-day free gift certificate for two. Maya Cinemas is going to help you celebrate with movie tickets. The Bakersfield Marriott is saying we will provide a one-night stay and actually dinner for two at the Nines restaurant. There's the Olive Garden, In Shape, Performa. They've got all kinds of stuff to give away. Ugh. So we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
But what I really want to know is if you would be willing to encourage folks to participate in this in a very easy, doable way. All you have to do is go to our Facebook page and like us. Once you like us, your name will go into a drawing that is fixed with Jeremiah on every single tab. No, I'm just kidding. And you may be pulled for one of these wonderful gifts. And lastly, Don, my wife says that I have no ability to dance, but I hear you're pretty good on the dance floor. Tina, we'll see. Anyway, we're going to have a live reggae band in the studio, and hopefully
Look
we
at this
can.
man.
Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday, man. But anyway, it'll be lots of fun. Looking forward
Okay.
to that next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
all
Jeremiah.
those things he mentioned, we're giving away. Those things and more.
Yes.
And you know, with that band, it inspired me. I got it. Can I share just
Absolutely.
These words of a song came to me after listening to our reggae band come on.
All right.
It goes, you got to imagine a steel drums, steel band, the whole thing, and a
Okay.
Jamaican accent. And it goes like this. It goes like this. I want to wish you a good day. A very, very, very good day. A day with plenty time to play and quiet time to bow and pray.
Amen.
For those you love, to whom you say, we're gonna stick together all the way, right on down to our dying day. So make the very most of this day.
All right.
Here, Don.
All right, Pastor
Yes.
Cruz, let's get right to it. Pastor, tell us about what you hope for your son. You have a son that's
Yes.
now risen to a very high pinnacle in American life and may aspire to go on even farther. What do you hope for him, and what do you hope for America?
Well, let me tell you, I am so proud of my son. I think one of the most emotional days of my life was almost 2 years ago when he was sworn in as U.S. Senator. I remember sitting out there in that Senate floor, and as I watched my son swearing in to become a U.S. Senator, I thought back about 55 years before when I came to America with nothing, couldn't even speak the language. And to now see my son being sworn in as U.S. Senator, the thought that came to my mind is only in America. Only in America. This is the country where your dreams can become a reality.
So true.
We are so blessed being Americans.
And what do you see as the greatest threats to those dreams right now?
Well, I think actually one of the greatest threats is that we are creating a dependent society. And the challenge with dependency is it destroys individual responsibility. And with that, it kills the dream. People become complacent with just surviving. when we can thrive in this country if we work hard and with hard work and perseverance, achieve those dreams. America is great because America is good. If we look at our history, there were people that came here with nothing, and yet the United States of America has blessed the whole world in more ways than one. We've sent missionaries all over the world. We've been the biggest force to share the gospel throughout the world. We have created more entrepreneurs, more inventions, more advances to science in all areas than any other place in the world. And it is because of that freedom, that entrepreneurial spirit. And I see that that is being destroyed by trying to create a dependent society, trying to create the concept that we are all victims and we need the handout of the government in order to survive. No, on the contrary. As a matter of fact, a great Californian, President Ronald Reagan, said it best when he said, government is not the solution, government is the problem. And I think what we need is for government to get out of the way and allow us to achieve those dreams and aspirations that God put in our hearts.
And then we have the irony that President Reagan expanded government to a larger size than it ever was before. How do we deal with that?
But you know something, we have to realize also that Reagan inherited a very, very poor economy. As I said, we had 22% interest rates when Reagan took office, double-digit unemployment, double-digit inflation. By the 5th year of the Reagan administration, the GDP was 7.3%. Compare the 5th year of this current administration when we have negative GDP.
Pastor Cruz, what is your main message when you go across the country speaking to pastors and in groups? What is your main message?
My main message is the following. You know, about a little over a year ago, I was at a pastor's conference, and I found out some news that really disturbed me. And the news were that 50% of Christians are not even registered to vote. And of those that are registered to vote, only 50% voted in the last election.
It's only 25%.
Which means 3 out of 4 Christians are not even voting. And you know, that means we get what we deserve. You know, the Word of God tells us in Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, people mourn. And what happens is this: if people of principle do not vote, if people of principle do not run for office, then all it leaves is the wicked electing the wicked. We need to encourage pastors to do the opposite of what many have been doing, and that is to hide behind the pulpit, to say politics is a dirty business, I wash my hands of it. Well, if politics is a dirty business, the only way we change that is not by abdicating, is to have people of principle run for office, and for people of principle to elect people of principle. So we need to do the opposite of what pastors and Christians in general are doing. We need to get engaged.
Very interesting part of our history. I have a thick book called Sermons of the Colonial Era, and actually the pastors of that era would have the politicians sit in the pew and they would preach to them about their responsibilities under God to rule properly.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, Don, you know, unfortunately our history books have been rewritten. But if we look at the Declaration of Independence, in the Declaration of Independence, there are a series of grievances against King George. Each and every one of those grievances were preached from the pulpits of America before they were written on the Declaration. It was preachers from the pulpit calling out King George for the atrocities that he was perpetrating on the American people. My question is, where are those pastors today?
Well, we've certainly had one of those pastors right here on our set today. Rafael Cruz, thank you for being with us. And blessings on your stay here in Bakersfield. I think you're going to grow to love this city and see it as a very
Yes.
special
Thank you. I look
place.
forward to coming back soon.
All right.
Thank you. And you're going from here. You have a luncheon you're speaking at over
Yes.
at JC's place at
Yes.
11:30.
Right.
JC's downtown here on Chester. So we got 30 seconds. We're going to say bye and thank you so very
Birthday
much.
show coming up next
Oh,
week.
yes. You don't want to miss it. A lot of businesses in the community have come on board and they just want to flourish the gifts on you in abundance. So
Happy birthday, kiddo.
thank you. Thank you. And to you too.
All right,
So we'll
thanks.
see you next time.
All
Thank
right.
you, Pastor
God
Cruz.
bless.
Thank you.